Where's
Use
my-
your hands.
Do what? Yeah. There's not a chair up here.
We're out there.
I don't know where it is.
Oh, I see there's one. Is it somebody sitting there?
Kay's not here yet.
Where?
We'll deal with that if she's probably not gonna be able to come.
I'm just trying to get as far separated based on what's happening in this building.
What?
I said, with all the cases going around in this building, I'm just trying to get as far separated as we can get.
Okay, I'm going to call the Carroll County Economic Development Authority meeting to order. First item on our agenda, I'd like to welcome our new board member, Mr. Marty Hall.
Thank you.
It's good to have you on board.
Thank you.
Let's stand for our pledge and invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray together. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to be here to discuss the business of this county. Father, we just pray for your leadership and guidance. In Jesus' name, amen.
I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening, and our next item will be citizens' time. Do we have citizens' comments?
Closed session, and that's what.
You are.
Anyone else on citizens' time? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to amend our agenda and call for a closed session, but next before the unfinished business. Do I have a motion that we go into closed session under Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1, legal consultation with legal counsel, and A5, discussion of protective business or industry?
I have a question.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh, sorry.
I think my understanding is we want to add a few additional subsections for that, if I could offer those.
Okay, sure, I'd be glad to.
I think we'd be looking for a motion for closed session under A1, 2.23711A1 personnel, A7 and A8 consultation with legal counsel, and that's specifically concerning the Virginia Produce Agreement and the other agreements to which the EDA is a party. Subsection A5, discussion of a prospective business or industry when no public announcement has been made. And finally, A3 for discussion of the acquisition or disposition of real property.
Okay, so amended. Do I have?
I
Mandy,
was just
have-
going to ask when I needed to invite Mr. Hill in to come in closed session with us. Do I need to do that before a motion is made or after?
Let's do that after.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor of going into closed session, please say aye. All opposed, no. Motion is carried, and we'll move into closed session.
Just turn the recording on.
Mandy, your request is to invite Mr. those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. Okay, Crystal, do you want to?
I can. You want to certify closed session first?
Okay. Whereas the Carroll County Economic Development convened a closed session this date, December 7th, 2020, pursuant to an affirmed recorded vote on the motion to close the meeting in accordance with Virginia Freedom of Information. Whereas Section 2.2-371D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the board that such closed session was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Economic Development Authority hereby certifies to the best of each member's knowledge only public business matters lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed session to which this certification applies, and only such business matters were identified in the motion by which the closed session was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting to which this certification applies. Unless individually certified. Mr. Sowers.
I certify.
Certified.
I certify.
Mr. Hall.
I certify.
And I certify.
Okay, so we have, say 10 additional, not really additional, you saw these last month, but these are the small business grants that were located within the town limits that we did not approve last meeting. I think you have those listed out with the amount that they have requested, as well as one nonprofit group that was added. And that total is $104,710. We had $450 allocated to begin with for small business grants. We spent all but $35,409, so what we're asking you to approve tonight, contingent upon the Board of Supervisors reappropriating more money, an additional $69,301, is the total of $104,710. I don't know if you all have a copy of the actual applications or just the list.
We have the list, the names.
Now, I will say that these are the exact ones that you saw last month. I have had several calls wanting to be added. I have let them know that all the money was allocated already. There was one that I want to bring to your attention from Omega. He said that he had emailed his application in prior to the deadline. I did not receive it by email. And I let him know that I would bring it to y'all's attention. I mean, I don't know what else to do when I didn't receive it. Any questions on?
You say how much it was?
It was for $10,000. He only has one employee.
He didn't supply you any information that
He
would
tried to
support-
resend it to me. Actually, I do have it now, but it wasn't before our original deadline.
He should be able to supply you the original email, should he not?
He hasn't been able, I don't think he can quite operate
He's
the
not
email.
IT
Yeah,
savvy.
he's not IT savvy, but
Well, certainly he could do that, but
I'm
he
sure
may
he
not be
could.
able to.
That, of course, that will be an additional $10,000 on top of the $104,710. And I don't know at this point how much we have left to work with on the board side either. We're down to the wire.
So, Chris, did the town give out the money that was given to them to give out, and they just ran out? Or did the town?
As far as I know, the town did not choose to use their money for small business grants.
But I think it was made clear to them that that was part of what they were supposed to do, or they could do what they wanted to.
They could do what they wanted to.
But they were expected to take care of the town businesses.
Well, they were given a prorated share based off population. And that was how it was given to them. We said full amount per capita. If we took the whole county population and divided into 5.2 million, 1,988,000, and then we allocated that per capita to the town's 1,812 residents, or whatever it was. And I guess if you're asking me, was that the intent? Sure it was. That anything in town they take, but that's not what happened. So we do have these 11 or 12, and we've got some money that we can reallocate. So what the board's going to consider, the county administrator's doing, is reallocating these funds from rent relief and some other funds, and asking the EDA to, as our conduit, to accept them and approve them.
So this would be a additional appropriation from the Board of Supervisors, I guess as a goodwill gesture, with the way I would put it.
Just out of curiosity, does the town have to report where they've put that money?
Yes.
They do.
Mhm.
My question, I hate to put the county administrator, do we have 10,000 to take care of Old May?
It will be cutting it very close now, yes.
Can we add that then?
We can add it contingent upon if I have 10,000 left after December 14th.
So can we edit this list and say contingent beside it for the EDA to approve? Consider for approval?
Yes.
Contingent upon the money, if not, whatever is available.
You okay with that?
So,
Absolutely. I think that we're at the point that we're down the wire. And we're trying to close out all the grants, and reallocate this money will allow us to meet all our deadlines.
I will ask if you approve this tonight. I already have the checks in hand. I'll ask that they go ahead and be signed and put in a lockbox, so on Monday, when the board, if the board approves it, I can move forward. That's leaving me with a week and 3 days, 2 days to get all the paperwork done, and that's pushing it for me with everything else I need to have done.
Because December 30th, all the money has to be spent.
Yes.
we are against the deadline to spend that money, so I think if you're in agreement, I'd entertain a motion to approve this plus the additional $10,000 if available. And checks to be signed contingent upon the invoice being paid from the Board of Supervisors to cover those allocations. Questions?
And we have sent our requests for the money to the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think Sandy has
Invoices.
Sandy has an invoice that would cover this, that would go
There's
to the,
actually two. We did one for the first 300 and some thousand, and then there's a second one for this 107. I haven't billed the 10 because I didn't know money yet.
right,
Yeah.
But
okay.
we'll bill that too.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the request contingent upon funds being provided by the Board of Supervisors?
I make a motion that we approve the small business grant requests contingent upon additional funds from the Board of Supervisors.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Can we add into that motion to have them signed and ready to proceed once the board approves?
Do I need to resay that?
Do
Or
it.
can I just tell you to add?
Yes, you can tell me to.
Please add that to my
Thank you.
motion. Just-
I have a motion and a second. Let's vote on that, and then we can do an amendment to cover the other. Would that be appropriate, Mr. Thurman?
It would, Mr. Chairman.
All those in favor of approving the small business grants contingent upon funds being appropriated by the Board of Supervisors, say aye. All opposed, no. Motion is carried. And I would entertain an amendment that would allow me and Richard to sign the checks to be held in the lockbox contingent upon that approval to expedite for time, because this money has to be out by December 15th.
Okay.
Is there an amendment?
I'm making, do it has to be a motion or is I making an amendment?
Can you make that where Sandy can sign that? I'm gonna have to make that other meeting, talk about it,
Sure.
unless you want me to go ahead and do it. You
I have them.
Okay, go ahead then.
Okay.
I would just do it as a further motion.
Okay.
Yeah, I further move.
Okay.
to-
I further move to allow the chair and vice chair to sign the small grant business checks and keep them in a lockbox pending Board of Supervisor approval.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have second. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Is carried. Richard, if you wanted to go ahead and take care of that, and we appreciate your attendance tonight. Okay, let's move to the minutes of the November 9th meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the November 9th meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept those. as presented.
Have a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second? Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the November 9th, 2020 EDA meeting. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion is carried. Minutes are approved. Ms. West, would you give us your payment of invoices, please?
So you have 2 pages today, but most of it's covered by the 2 invoices. What Crystal and I have been working together on these, and she has all of the actual checks, trying to help expedite the process. So what I've done here is I've included a list of the first request, which was the one you approved at your previous meeting, that constituted $344,591 worth of the grants. Just for your information, if you look at that list, what those dots and checks represent is the dot represents a check off against the list that Crystal gave me, and the check represents a check off against the actual physical checks that she has. If it doesn't matter to the board, I can, of course, do whatever you want, but my suggestion would be that we can approve based on the fact that these have been invoiced to the county and not require copies of all these checks to be included in your packages. Certainly, they're matter of record. They're kept here in the building, so anyone that wanted to could go into the claims files and look at the actual copies. But that's a lot of paper that, for your next meeting, if we're going to do copies of all those checks in 7 copies. So if that's okay with y'all, we'll go with this, and then I'll just put the records into the files. The second list is what Crystal was just asking for your approval for. We have cut all of those, which she's now having, based on your approval, having them signed, with the exception of the last one that you just was brought to your attention, the Omega. Obviously, we haven't cut that one yet. I'll try to get that done and get it to, I'll need permission to sign that one instead of Richard, and then Larry can sign the rest of them. We all 3 are signatories on the account, but just as a matter of internal control, I'm choosing not to sign if I don't have to, just so that there are 2 alternate signatures on
If
there.
you need me to come one day, I can.
Okay, so, but to get that done as quickly as possible so this can get out to them. So that is the first page and a half. And basically, I just split the claims into the $449,301 that does represent all of the grants. We have already received payment on the $344,901 invoice from the county. Those funds are in the bank, so that much has already been covered. And the remaining $107,000. I'll have to cut another invoice for the 10, but the $104,000, I mean, that has been invoiced, and we can cover that pending receipt of that. As far as being able to release those checks, that would be at the discretion of the board, though, because typically I don't do that. So I would need you to tell me to go ahead and do that.
Is there any disagreement with her doing such? Okay.
And then the only other thing we have is just a few monthly items. The AEPs, the list is getting smaller since we're now down to the ones that we're actually just doing the current advance. We are having a little bit of unusualness, and I guess that's the best way to put it. There is some time lag in getting those things through the process with the county, from maintenance through the county to us. So at some point, some of these will catch up. So what I did this time, and I haven't talked to anyone over there yet, but it looks like to me we might have had a duplication of payment between the county and one that we covered. So once I get the actual bills, I'll straighten that out with the county. And then we have the monthly installment loan for the Vanguard building. We have the little bit of mowing left. That's what I was trying to think what that was. The county's bill for $240 was October mowing. And then Michelle did, and you have a copy of it, Michelle did submit a reimbursement for some postage for the Virginia Title Center. The CenturyLink is the fire alarm over at Little Tykes, and then we have our regular installment to Skyline National Bank for the Cana Rescue loan and remodeling that was done down there. The next item on the list is my fee from November, and then we have the 3 USDA ACHs for the fire truck loan, the monthly installment on the buses, and the bond payment on the Carroll County High School. And that brings the total claims being covered to $493,821.02. Any questions?
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the payment of invoices.
Make a motion, we pay the invoice.
Okay, I have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the invoices. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Invoices are approved.
Okay, for the change in funds balance for this month, we started I got the wrong page up. We started the month with $890,210. The income this month was $391,467, and as you can see, that does include the $344 and $591 that came from the county. Little Tykes payment is not there because they're not in arrears, they're actually paid in advance, so there'll be a blank there until they've used up what they've paid. Have not yet received the current month's payment from the county for the fire truck. Those kind of tend to come in a 1 month lag, again, just processing time. On the regular expenses, what you actually approved and we paid in November, that's the first section, not counting the grants. The $449,301, of course, is an unusual line item. We did have $3,148 in legal fees, which was approved last month. So those are really the only significant items, giving us $454,597 in expenses, and we actually had a net income of negative this month, but that's that'll be corrected when we get the rest of the money from the county on the grants. And that brings us to the installment payments, the standard debt payments, and that's $43,394, along with the monthly reserve for our reserve that we have to have for the bond for the Carroll County High School, $2,325. So the ending funds balance is $1,018,205, of which $236,845 is restricted. That is the Carroll County High School bond restricted. And you just committed to additional commitments to disbursements above and beyond the grants, $44,520, which leaves us with operating funds of $736,841, and of those funds, $97,295 is committed to the incentives for Vanguard, which leaves us operating funds of $639,545. Any questions?
Any questions? Not, I entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report. motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the treasurer's report. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Report is approved. Okay, let's move on to old business and update on the Woodlawn School project. Mr. Dalton.
The Woodlawn School project was closed. The demolition work has started from Davie Construction. We have, in the process of changing meter and electrical payments from one organization to another. We will be notifying the insurance company that canceled the insurance on the building. And about 14 months from last month or next year about this time, they should be renting the building out. 51 new apartments.
I did pass by a day or two ago and saw some containers, so they're definitely doing demolition. Okay, EDA property presentation maps.
Yeah, about wore me out. I'm not sure I would even want to do this tonight. Can we delay it to another night? Several months ago, or 6 months ago, we talked about looking at deciding which properties the EDA felt that could be developed or not developed. Maybe we can stick these up as we go through them on the whiteboard here. I went through these, put the contours on them, have printed out the property cards, the tax assessments, etc. And actually on some of these properties, did some engineering work to see how much it would cost to actually develop it and grade it to some pad sizes. A few things that came about, whether we can see these things or not. Hold on. Is there a clip on this, Crystal?
I don't think there's a
Or
clip.
can we get some tape? Maybe I can just hold it up for the time being.
Toothbrush.
Can everybody see that? Of course, if you need to.
If you need to come up.
If you need to come up and take a look
stand
at it, why,
a little
feel free.
closer. What you see is the industrial park over at the intersection IS 8177. The three parcels on the far end, Little Tykes Daycare Center, a little oddball shape of land, and then the land around the gas company there. Little Tykes, I guess we do have a request to purchase that property. This property, except to go to Vanguard as part of their access road, it just needs to be part of the Vanguard property. It's non-developable, there's a stormwater drain across it, the road. So my suggestion is that y'all consider that just be part of the Vanguard property when it's transferred. They're 3 years away, 2024 is when it finishes payments on their.
I think so. I'd have to look at the schedule to be sure.
Right.
I think so, yes.
I think that is 2024. This property, there's a couple of unique things about this property. If it was in the town of Hillsville, zoning, we could rent space to put billboards up, then it'd be ideal, just at the right place and spacing to do that. If not, I believe the best thing to do is, because of the odd shape and the slope of that property, is just auction it off and try to get rid of it.
So you're saying we can't do the billboard thing?
I think you can,
Oh, okay.
but you'd have to go to the town and ask
Gotcha.
for friendly annexation.
Gotcha.
But you can, we did some 3D renderings driving down the interstate as you're coming down the hill. And you can actually see that. It would get you off, and those billboards rent for a few $1,000s a month. I know a few people that own plenty of them and rent them and do pretty well at that. Matter of fact, some other property we'll look at in a minute. But if not for the billboard portion of it, the odd shape and the cost of developing, I think I'd just get rid of that property.
Has a pretty good slope, doesn't it?
It does. It's even at the current slope. I tried to bench in a site, but the access road down to it would have been more than 10%, which is pretty steep, trying to get into a property.
If you're out of shape, it's really tough to walk.
Well, that might be. the only
If you're
thing that
old,
probably
it's.
could work there is a motel, but there's no real access. You've got to go, they'd starve to death because you got to go 2 miles and back around to find the motel, even though you can see it. It's one of those properties you can see really well, but you just can't get there. And I don't know if a signage can make that happen or not. My suggestion would be include this with Vanguards, sell this property, Little Tykes daycare, and then auction this property off, or take proposals on. Daycare center, the current assessment is $694,000. The assessment on the 20 acres is $200,000. I think that's way high.
The new assessment.
Yeah.
I have the old assessments. I don't know if I could email them all to you. Really, we probably need the new assessments.
Actually, we can scan all these when we finish and just send everything. I don't know. Most of you got your new assessments this past week anyway, right?
Yeah.
I hope everybody's happy with it. This next property that you own is the ball, I'm gonna call it the ball fields and the hillside. Since I used black, you can't see it, but we can actually do some pretty good development there. The cost to develop this property in grade 2 pads, this one is about a 25-acre pad, this is about a 7-acre pad, it's about $1.5 million. But with the interstate visibility, I still say that's the ideal place for a new wall farm, in my opinion. And as going along with that, I sent y'all maybe some emails about some companies, that Retail Strategies and a couple other companies that would actually, y'all could hire, consider. First, we'd have to go through and accept proposals. But you could actually hire those people to market this property to retail people out there. There's developers, I think, that would go. So I think this property, and this property here, where where the old health department was at, and out by the ball fields where you now, not the ball fields, but there's a disc golf on it, you can get about a 10-acre pad there with just a couple $100,000 worth of investment grade cost. So I think you ought to keep that property and develop with a horse.
About the property you looked at, would you say that's our #1 property?
That's the best you got.
Okay.
That is the best you have. Interstate visibility, roads out there, easy to sign. stoplight. You have access that you could actually put a second entrance over here, out on 58 that can get the sight distance. So, matter of fact, what I'd recommend here is that we go talk to the Board of Supervisors and give them capital improvement plans, that they fund a market plan and grading plan of how this property can be developed, and hire an engineering firm to do that. There's a couple little nuances. It's got a creek down through it that you got to deal with the water and stuff, but it's got some hollows that, in the right places, to make stormwater ponds easy.
So that's the problem where the rec department building
It
is.
is.
So
That doesn't include, the development costs doesn't include this portion here. That doesn't mess with
the ball fields and stuff.
Is there
If you've ever
anything,
been over there, you need to, man, you take a walk up that big steep trail. and
didn't
get
they
back.
used to run cross-country over there?
They did.
Yeah.
Is there anything restricting the use of that property?
There is not.
Okay.
That's in the county, correct?
It is.
Okay.
I mean, I thought years ago I had heard something about that could only be used for like recreational purposes, but I may have dreamed that.
Actually, it's EDA on property. I haven't found the
Okay.
deed that says that.
Gotcha.
If you want to do that, I think y'all can restrict it, but it's currently deeded to the EDA.
Okay.
So I think that's a highly desirable, actually, it's a pretty cheap site to develop, in my opinion. Used to make a living doing those kind of things. Gardner Industrial Park, if you know where, this is Parkdale, the group that we just worked out a deal with. You own 3 pieces, actually 4 pieces of property, it was just too big, 5 pieces of property in Ernest Gardner Industrial Park. This piece is up on 100. It's about 700 feet long and about 500 feet deep. Pretty flat. They're currently raising, or did raise corn on it this year without a lease, but that's okay. This property is pretty worthless, and this property is between concrete plant and the log yard, which is a pretty good piece of property for commercial development with road access, water, and sewer. A couple things that I want to tell you about, and I've got some conference calls and meetings that I think you are welcome to attend. I'm meeting with some solar companies about taking this whole, and I've met with Parkdale about taking their property, this property, and making a solar farm there of 10 megawatts, which will take care of their power needs. We did a rendering. 90% of this property either faces south, southeast, or southwest. Perfect. Perfect for a solar farm. So what's great about it? Typically what kills a solar farm is you have to have an insertion point. Here is an electrical substation, a 20 megawatt substation currently there. So what I would ask or recommend that y'all allow me or whoever to continue with this solar prospecting, I'm gonna call it, and see if we can get to fruition. And we will have to work with Parkdale Industries to make that happen, because they own most of the land in between what we own. But I have talked to Parkdale, the president of the company, and they're all for this, for us to proceed with the solar project. Matter of fact, here's a couple issues you need to be thinking about. Parkdale offered to sell this land back to the EDA for us to make the whole project go, or in retrospect, they'll make the project go, the solar project, if we'll sell our property. So that'll be a future consideration for you guys. So, except for the Route 100 portion of it, it's not very good property, especially this. This is okay, but let us proceed, I'd recommend let us proceed with trying to track a solar company down and see if we can make that happen. And I think with the new administration coming in, there's enough solar credits gonna go around that this will happen.
How many total acres are there, so that,
Sorry?
what's the acreage total?
The acreage, this parcel up on Route 100 is about 6 acres. This is not quite an acre, and this is about 12 acres.
I've started seeing, I guess in the last 30 to 60 days, a lot of traffic coming across with solar, that they're interested in doing solar.
Yeah, I've seen
There's
those.
a lot of money out there. That's something we need to keep in mind.
Keep track of all the push pins. This is the other piece of, one of the other pieces of property. This is Parkdale or Magnolia, and we've got this odd-shaped piece of property here. It's just odd to do anything with. As a matter of fact,
Probably some wetlands in here would.
actually, this is, with my discussions with Parkdale would probably be pushed, and this would be pushed with the solar farm. So unless it's a solar farm, unless you acquire some additional land, it's a tough piece of property to deal with because of the environmental issues. And this backside towards Beaver Dam Creek is pretty steep also. Keep stepping on something. And that was 20-some acres there. This property is off Beaver Dam Road. Just a few years ago, the EDA bid it out and cut all the timber off this property. You can see the logging roads. All this is owned by Magnolia. It faces the wrong way for a solar farm. I did a 5-acre pad in there. It would cost us almost $900,000, not counting the environmental ponds and stuff, to develop a pad in there. My recommendation on this one is to cut this in parcels and auction it off for housing. As you can see, those contours, how steep it is, it's the best you can do if the road is 9.5% just to get to this little field up here. And that's about 16 point something acres in there. And it would make, with 200-foot road frontage, 7 lots. Inside the corporate, it's inside the corporate limits. You can actually make the lots a lot smaller, frontage-wise, but
Does it have
but-
sewer or water?
it has both. The sewer is on the one side of it there. Actually, this is, I've had more fun with doing this this past couple of weeks than I had for 18 months doing something. This property is Woodlawn School. If I was the EDA, I would recommend that, and give this back to the Board of Supervisors, and they develop a comprehensive recreational program of how to fully develop that property. You're gonna have 51 apartments here. This field, and you can't see it from where you're at, but I've drawn in, we can actually put the only regulation size soccer field, because when Larry was growing up, it was a football field. And the Board of Supervisors actually need to invest there and relight that field and make it a comprehensive and recreational complex. Back up on this corner, you can put a regulation size Little League ball field with 250 and 275 foot fences back here. We've got a tennis courts and we've got access both ways with parking lots by agreement with Woodlawn Landmark, who we just sold this property to. We can use their parking lots at no cost. So it's just, so I think that central part of the county, good place for recreation. We'll just see. Plus with the gym use, you've got I guess it's a 30-year agreement that you get to use that gym for $100 a year.
At one time, there was tennis courts there.
They're still there. They play pickleball
Okay.
today. Matter of fact, summertime in the fall, you'll see pickleball players there every day. Everybody knows what pickleball is. This is the property that's got multiple uses out there that you've offered to many people. Currently, Moyer Beamer rents this property and this property. But the EDA has made motions in the past that the Blue Ridge Plateau Initiative, which is a meat producing plant, that y'all would provide this property, both parcels to them, and also the outreach center, that weighing station, cattle processing, sorting facility would be on this end of it. Those still are viable projects. Blue Ridge Plateau is still working with DHCD on trying to get their final funding for that project. But the EDA board, a long time ago, passed a motion, and they have, as part of our proposal to DHCD, included that property as part of that meat processing facility, both parcels. And I think we promised that parcels to 2 or 3 different people. But I would keep that, and just in case the Blue Ridge meat processing plant comes to fruition.
How long has that been in the works?
Ma'am?
How long has that been in the works?
2 years.
Okay.
If we can make you copies of all that. They had a pretty comprehensive study from Marston or Marston? Marston Company. Guess where that's at, everybody gets a nickel. That's off Double Cabin Road, old Duxboro Elementary School. This is the firehouse over there. I would recommend that you subdivide that property and sell it for residential lots, just like the rest of the neighborhood. There's residential homes lining all around it. There's no public water, sewer, but there's a little fire station. You can, I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lots there with 200 feet of road frontage that are pretty deep. You get about 2 acres a lot. I'd recommend that you just sell that property. At first, I thought about a community center and ball fields, but the topo doesn't lend to it. There's already a community center where the old rescue squad is, about a mile away. So I would recommend that you guys consider auctioning off or sell that property. Currently, all we do is mow it. Now we get to the bottom of the stack here. Richard took off on me, but this is down his neck. This is 3 lots that you own in Canaan. An empty lot that's got the septic tank on it. You got the empty building that we have an occupancy permit for, in the rescue squad building. I think we need to talk to the board of supervisors, realign these lot lines, and auction all that property off and get rid of it. It's,
Rescue squad building is currently being used.
we send somebody down there and they stay there during the day. But that's the only location that we use remotely. My understanding of the reason we do that, in case there's a wreck on the interstate, that we can come in from the bottom to the top. But you can easily do that from the other direction. But the lot lines.
The lot line could be changed between the buildings.
It does. But that's, I would recommend you look at that and take it to the board and say, this is what we want to do with that property. So there's basically about 5 properties, in my opinion, that you need to get rid of, that are just unusable or have no plans unless y'all see other plans for. Because this building has stood empty for several years now. It's full basement, full top. We went through an engineering process to get an occupancy permit for it.
Was it ever occupied?
It's never been occupied. But it needs to be occupied, and somebody needs to be an owner of it. Now, Larry, if you want to make it a dance hall, that'd be a great place because the floor springs just a little bit inside.
I know. We did the building according to the engineer's plans.
Oh, is that right? So you put the spring to the floor?
What was
No,
its
the engineer put the
intention?
springs in it.
What was the intention of that building?
The rescue squad at one point in time was here, and they built this for some kind of center, community center or something. But this property's got a little nuances to it. The septic tank is actually probably on Mr. Sowers' dad's property. But it is what it is. There's a permit for it. It's been there for as long as the buildings have been there, so I assume we're good to go.
Is there water and sewer along?
There is
52?
water. I'm not sure about the sewer, if sewer's there or not. Pretty sure it's not.
I don't think so.
But I know there's water. Well, we wouldn't have a septic tank, I guess, if there was public sewer. So that's, and there's a couple of more little properties, nooks and crannies here and there.
You didn't include the Ivanhoe property, did you?
No, I did not include the carbide plant property.
Right.
Because, number one, it's an environmentally sensitive, and you You've tried to auction it off at least twice.
Twice, and it's not,
Somebody bought it one time and wouldn't pay you for it after they found out what it was.
they couldn't afford to clean it.
Then there's some other little property, like that Levels Dam and stuff, you just can't do anything with. And then, unless you want to sell the courthouse, I could put the courthouse up. You do own the courthouse at Carroll County High School.
Well, if it's enough zeros, maybe we'll consider. Anyone have any questions?
But
If you would
Thank you for
maybe-
doing that. That's,
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
certainly appreciate that. If you would kind of make those available in case anyone wanted to come and look at them.
Okay.
Um,
My new office is in the, right across the hall down here, until you hire someone. But, yeah, I think if you have a chance, just come by and we'll just go through them. It's got some, we've got some calculations and stuff about the cost of development. But we've talked a long time about deciding what we're gonna do with all the property. And of course, we still have that request by the board to turn it all back over to us.
I know we're in the Christmas season and the holidays, but if you can, try to take a serious look at that, and let's begin to move forward at the January meeting. If we could make a decision, if we're going to make an auction or something of that nature, it would be good to try to have it in place, for a spring situation.
If we could, if we're gonna auction or sell any of it, get it on, everything lined out, re-subdivide it, and ready for March, April auction season, when everybody will be ready to get outside and buy some things.
But we'll have to move pretty quick in order to do that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, let's move on to the daycare center then.
I think the daycare center, we're good. to
Taken
go.
care of, okay. A&G.
A&G, well, once again, I've put a copy of the A&G asset agreement. The 5 years is up now. December 31st, Mr. Attorney, we need an accounting and decide exactly, do they owe us money or not owe us money? My opinion, and it'll be based upon when they do the final accounting, is that while A&G may provide us a tabulation of all their assets to go against the 2.2 million, I think it'd be in our best interest that we have an independent person that A&G and we agree to look at it and say that it either applies or doesn't apply in the prorational share that's stated in the agreement, because it says that it has to go to the benefit of Carroll County residents to be counted as part of the asset or investments. And I guess I'll get way out on base. Even with the investments, and I think there was some disagreement upon this, I believe that at the end of the day, that Appalachian Natural Gas will owe us some money. But I think we have to get the attorney involved with this to make all this happen. So we can close this out, and
So December 31, is that a date?
that is a date.
Okay, so after that time, we can request the accounting and then have a third party.
I would send notice now that December 31st is approaching, and let's get together, have some of their representatives come in and with us, and we sit down and say, this is how we want the accounting to be done jointly, and then we can all agree and not argue about it later.
Right.
So I would suggest that we send notice, get the county, or EDA attorney to send a notice that we want that and schedule a meeting. And you need to appoint yourself or somebody else to be part of that so that we can meet with the A&G representatives and head down that road. If if we start now, we'll get it done January, February, or March.
Right. I guess it would be appropriate if we had a motion to do that, have it on the record.
That would be good.
I'll entertain a motion to ask A&G to meet with us to provide documentation to substantiate their agreement.
Are you waiting on the motion?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Well, I could make the motion, but I prefer not to.
I make a motion that we ask A&G to meet with us to provide documentation on their agreement.
Yes. Do we need to include, I guess we would instruct legal counsel to send them that notice.
Yes.
So I need to reword the
If-
motion?
Yeah, if you would add.
Okay. I make the motion that we instruct legal counsel to provide a notice to A&G to meet with us to provide information about their agreement.
To a second.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to legal counsel to provide a meeting with representatives of the board to certify their agreement. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Motion is carried. Okay, other old business? Any new business?
No, sir.
Any member have any?
Spoke about the solar farm process that we're investigating.
Mr. Chairman, I went through my notes and found that it's July 31st, 2024 on Vanguard. That is the date.
Vanguard?
Okay. Okay, just to remind everyone in summary, if you will provide me your input on the daycare center, I'll have that ready for the January meeting. And if you will review the property holdings, and we'll make some decisions on what our recommendations on the land would be. Does any member have any?
So we're going to plan to look at applications in our January meeting?
Crystal, have we forwarded all those to?
I think we have 3 of them.
That's what I have is 3.
I would start reviewing them individually. If you want us to send you a grade sheet of somehow to look at them and then schedule them. If you only have 3, I'd interview all my applicants and be done with it. And the sooner the better.
Right, I understand that. I just wonder, maybe we'll get some more. I think we got 2 of those 3 applications today or this week.
Yes.
I know I got 2 today.
Yeah. So I mean, I think maybe we'll get more in the next week or so.
Don't drag me out, Ronnie.
Well, I don't want to do that. I just think the bigger the pool, the better.
I agree. Better applicant base that you can choose from.
Yeah.
If it's January, that's okay.
So what if we set a time, Mr. Chair, at the end of next week to get together and review what we have and move on? If we get some more, hopefully we'll get more in the next week.
Well, whatever the board's pleasure is, obviously, we can review those if you want to make an offer to one of them, or if you want to table it and wait for additional people, then, we can do that. But I
You said
think time is of the essence.
we're going to have a called meeting soon.
Well, if y'all just recess tonight to a certain date, then maybe we can get whatever is happening at that meeting too.
Could we? Could.
Set a time, Ronnie.
Let's see. Let me look at the calendar before I say it. What if, could we recess this meeting and come back together next Monday?
Board of Supervisors meet next Monday.
Okay. Think they'd mind going someplace else? I'm kidding.
Well,
I think we should ask.
would a Tuesday work? I mean,
Tuesday works for me just as good. Tuesday, the 15th.
15th, 5 PM?
Yeah, works for me. I don't mean, does that match your schedule? I don't know what your schedule's
Recess
like.
until that date?
I
okay.
think that's fine.
Okay,
Tuesday.
I'll
I
enter.
mean, you're working somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
Smithfield or somewhere.
Can I do that as a chairman? I do any motions? Okay, I'm going to recess this meeting then until 5 PM, December 16th?
15th.
15th, excuse me. See everyone then.
I don't think
Thank
there's
you.
no recess.
Have a good night.